Hi, it's Jnwynn with Scraptastic Yarns Podcast. Today is Friday the 25th, I believe. And I thought I would show you some things I finished. This is the Halloween blanket. And it was something I held, I believe it was an errand with that Halloween yarn. And I held two strands together, and what I did is I did a half double crochet V-stitch, and I think I probably chained 130 something or something like that, and then of course did the V-stitch across, and then did 2 rows of half double crochets around the edge just to give it a little nicer edge. As you can tell, I'm still wearing the brace, and I have a shoulder support on. It is not tennis elbow. It is something called ulnar nerve entrapment, and the ulnar nerve runs from like the back of your neck around back of your elbow up into the front, down around and into these 2 fingers. And the way that the doctor tested me was to play with these 2 fingers, and of course I was not happy. And she determined that yes, I do have nerve entrapment, and that's what that is. So of course what they do, there are several treatments that they do besides some physical therapy with some exercises, which I already know the exercises. So after Monday I'm allowed to start the exercises, but they want to get the anti-inflammatory and some other medications on board to see if that helps that inflammation. And we talked about what had happened because I'd picked up that sewing machine and carried it across the parking lot. And what she said is that probably just actually was the final blow for it, as in you did something with the muscles and tendons that actually grabbed hold of that nerve and made it even worse. So it just kind of inflamed everything. One of the other treatments is possible surgery. But luckily that's done with the local, and they just go in and cauterize the nerve ending so that you don't feel the pain. Basically cut it. Then I'm kind of opposed to that because there's a reason you have nerve endings that, cry out and cause pain, is because there's something wrong. So, I'm not too thrilled about that. So we're going to really work with the exercise and whatnot. But in the meantime, I had continued to crochet with my right hand. So I made another 2 little hats, for the babies. But then after I saw the doctor, they said, nope, we know you're right-handed. Lay off the right-handedness. When you have to start using your non-dominant hand, it can be kind of annoying. I cut everything with this hand, sewing everything. So I'm having to learn to cut with my left. Well, I've cut with my left hand before, with the rotary blade. So that's no problem. But there are some things I'm not used to doing with my left hand, such as crocheting. So I spent this weekend teaching myself to crochet left-handed. And this was the first hat that I made left-handed. It does have some issues, and I can see the issues, but I'm going to let it go. This was the second attempt. Still have a little bit of issues. This little hat took me 2 hours to finish. This one took an hour and 45 minutes. And this one took an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm getting a little better with the crochet. But I had planned on starting, I believe Krista's new shawl is candles and flowers. I was going to do that. So I'm kind of laying off that yet because I'm still practicing with the crocheting. So that's kind of where we're at. But in the meantime, before I'd been told to stop, I started Sarah Satch's Scraptastic Cal this year. And the first month is just a basic granny square. She said 6 inches. I think mine's a little bigger than 6 inches, or maybe 5 inches. I can't remember exactly. I'm not going to worry about it because I will just worry about getting the rest of the blocks close to the same size. So yeah. The other one that I had finished was the herringbone stash buster cowl that the unraveled mitten is doing. And I did finish that, but I realized after I finished it, I think she had her block as 12 inches. Mine's 12 and a half. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about it. It'll all come out in the wash. I had started knitting a hat, and this is Ross's basic beanie. And I really like this pattern. It just comes out really nice looking. Doesn't matter what size you make it, it comes out beautiful if you use that math and that formula that he does. So, to go with that, I am now knitting a scarf. And as you can see, this scarf is basically, you do a couple of rows of garter stitch and then stockinette, then go back to the garter stitch and, just back and forth, and that's all I'm doing with that. To go with that hat, and of course that'll go for prayer shawl. That's it for the makes. The only other thing I did is I signed up for Jimmy Bean's Crochet Club. So I'm gonna open that. And this one is the one that's for the crocheters. It's $15 a month. So we'll see what we have. That's a cute little bag. It snaps. Let's see if I can get it open. And it is a mesh bag. And boy, there's a lot of stuff in here. There are a lot of these sheepies stone washed. I call them like bonbons. They're just little skeins, all kinds, all colors. And I think that's all that's in here. Look at those colors. Like I said, there's quite a few colors. And this is I think it's every month for 3 months. Fall down, not gonna be able to get it. And some, they're anywhere from purples, blues. That one looks a little orangish, a little tannish. And we'll get into some other darker tan colors. Some darker colors there. And a couple off-whites, and then another light gray color. So we have all those lovely little colors. They all came stashed in this bag. Yep, this is pretty uncomfortable. You have to use your arm but not use it, so it gets a little cranky. And in with it, they gave you a little notepad with some grid work on it. The pattern, you get 3 months of this, and this is called a monster poof. Just going to show you that. Let me get it there. And it looks like a footstool. The pattern is by Katie Peterson. It's actually beautiful. Pattern. You use a K hook. I don't know about this poof thing. According to the colors that you're using, you have black onyx, obsidian, brown agate, smoky quartz, boulder opal, axonite, pink quartzine, coral, moonstone, morganite, Rhine, and Danube, wheaten, blue apatite, green agate, turquoise, larimar, amazonite, new jade, crystal quartz, Congo, malachite, Canada jade, and fosterite, lemon quartz, and peridot. And then they have a bunch of other colors. They're telling you the colors that you're actually going to be using out of this. Okay, it does tell you the color on there. Come on, focus. Focus. Focus on just that. It's not going to focus too much in the background. I'm not going to fight with it to focus it, but it does tell you the colors on it in a little bitty print. Like that's called boulder opal. Yeah, well, I don't know that I'm impressed. But I do know, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 8. This is probably about not quite one of those boxes of the sheepies yarn that you can get at Hobby Lobby. This is probably not quite a full box. Probably about half of the box in here. So you're getting, I think those boxes are $30. So yeah, it's about $15. I like the bag. It's really nice. The bag is from Namaste. And it's really cute the way that it has, although it's easy to be able to stick this down into your purse or your other bag, but it'd be nice if it had a little handle. Think about it, Namaste. Had a handle. But yeah, that's it. I almost have the swap ready for my swap partner with Llama Mama's Swap. I do have to add some details to it. I could not get out because, we had Snowmageddon. And then Wednesday through Thursday it was raining. Thursday afternoon the rain started freezing, which is on top of the ice. Our landlord, she has to hire new people to do the snow and ice removal every year because she's cheap. She's not willing to pay anybody who's good at the job. And every year there's a new group of people that do it because they find out how difficult she is to work with. So they refuse to work with her again. Because she doesn't want to put the money out to put salt out and actually clean the parking lot well. So the first day that we had the snow, a lot of the kids had gone out and shoveled these nice paths. They'd shoveled the walk, shoveled the path, in between the cars so people could get in and out of cars. A couple of kids cleaned off our car for us, because we've cleaned off other people's cars in the past when it snows like that, when we're out there doing it. So that you don't get this, mound of ice in between the cars. We clean it and put it up towards where normally they would push the snow anyway. This new group came out and they left about this thick snow. We had about 12 inches in between, just a sheet of ice out in the parking lot. They made it worse because they weren't willing to put the little plow on their truck down low enough to get most of it up. And because they don't use shovels at all. They use a snow blower, which is fine, but you do have to go back and clean it up with a shovel or something else. So you're not walking on ice. They didn't put any salt out. So, of course, Thursday when it rained, dipped down into the teens last night, in the 20s, and I think, let's see, today we're now up to 31, and it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. So the parking lot is a sheet of ice. So I didn't go anywhere today because I'm not walking out on that. The neighbor that lives behind our apartment complex does landscaping and removes snow and ice for other people. So he is working on the parking lot because when the kids aren't there, he does park in the parking lot when he has to work on his vehicles. So he's pulling out the ice in a pathway, for us to get to our car. I don't ice skate well. Never been ice skating in my life, so when I refuse to start now, So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now with that. And that's it. I just wanted to share with you what was going on. The hand is feeling a little bit better, the arm. I do have excruciating pain anytime I pick up anything with that hand, all the way up the arm. But, you just can't avoid doing things. I've gotten my looms out to see if I can loom knit without a lot of issues because I can wrap left-handed and I'm sure I can, take those over. I don't know if I can purl. That might slow me up a little bit, but I'm willing to try. If I can crochet with this left hand, should be able to loom knit with it. So you may see next couple of weeks more loom knit ideas, items, and less crochet. Although I am enjoying learn how to crochet with my left hand. They say when you learn new things, you ward off the Alzheimer's. So here's hoping it really works. Uh, and I've also noticed my tension, left-handed, is a lot tighter than my right hand. So that's kind of interesting. And of course, you can see how they lean a little bit different than when you normally crochet right-handed. And I'm noticing I see some of the things my sister is southpaw. And I see some of those things that my sister tells me that were difficult when you're trying to translate a pattern that is written right-handed into I'm seeing that now. So that's kind of an interesting concept to see that. It's a little different. Um, it does mean you have to think a little bit harder when you're doing some of these things. You know, joining. I didn't think that joining would be that big an issue, but it kind of is. So instead of going this way when I'm crocheting, I'm now going this way, counterclockwise. So that's kind of interesting too. Um, so yeah, it's a neat process to learn. So I would highly suggest to those of you that do crochet right-handed, try to learn left-handed. Those that crochet left-handed, try it right-handed. Uh, yeah, it's been an interesting couple of days. Um, that is it for that portion of today's podcast. I know that several people have mentioned the issue that is going on over on Instagram. I do not follow Instagram as closely as others. I've not seen the conversation, although I have seen the conversation that is on Ravelry. And, my first thoughts were, well, I can understand this, but people are idiots. If they're bypassing somebody, uh, their yarn creations, their designs, because they happen to be someone of color. Uh, I don't know, that's kind of crazy to me. But what I'm going to say is I can understand what people term white fragility. We have seen an instant of that this week with the incident that happened in Washington during the march with the young men at the Covington High School. If you have not searched out the full, I think there's close to 3 hours now, of the other video, you might believe that they were racist in what they did. I would suggest that you search out those other videos. You would find that things are not what they seem. I am very well aware of Mr. Phillips. I have seen him in past instances over the years. He has made several false claims in the past. There was an incident 4 or 5 years ago at one of the Michigan universities. He had made this claim that kids were dressed in feathers, had paint on their face, and that they had disrespected him and called him names, told him he needed to go back to the reservation. He called the police. A reporter came out. He identified himself as a Vietnam War veteran. He is not. And when the police did the research and they used video from storefronts, they found that he had lied and made up the entire story about this confrontation. Now, does that mean he lied about this? I don't know what he perceived. But I do understand people see things through a different prism. And I'm going to tell you about an incident that happened to me when I was in high school. I ran around with quite a variety of ethnicities. Where I grew up, there were blacks, there were Hispanics, most primarily Hispanics, because I grew up in Roswell, New Mexico, Asian, Indian, you name it. We all got along. We all did things together. We had a lady and her daughter move in across the street from us, and they're black. They were black. But the girl and I, Anita, we formed a very fast friendship relationship. We ran around, did a lot of things together. Many of her black friends called her a coconut because she ran around with me. And I used to tell them off when they would say that. I'd say, well, perhaps I'm an inside-out coconut, you know. And we would have a little laugh and move on. But it irritated me when they said that. Well, Anita and I were very close. Her cousin, Sharon, though, was someone that I call my soulmate friend. We were extremely close. There wasn't anything we didn't talk about or share. Well, Anita and I ran around, did a lot of things. One afternoon, I'd been grounded for about a month. One afternoon, and this is when my mother was going through her cancer therapy, I had washed clothes, and I had 3 loads I needed to hang out on the line. And I loved hanging clothes out on the line. Well, my dad said, no, you need to take these to the laundromat to dry because it's supposed to rain this afternoon and they won't get dry. I'm going to let you take the car. You have to be home by 4:30. So Anita and I went. Anita was there when my father told me this. We went. We were at the laundromat. I'm drying the clothes. And there were a couple of boys from the Institute, and this is before the New Mexico Military Institute became co-ed. And they were hitting on us, and, we were talking and flirting with them, and they're flirting with us, the whole 9 yards. So I go over to fold the clothes. Anita's still talking to 2 of the guys over there. 3 of the guys come over and were talking with me. One of them started helping me fold clothes. And we were just talking. And I told him, I said, I have to be home at 4:30. And I told him that I'd been grounded because I'd lied to my dad about where I had gone with the car. So, and I told him, and I said, but after we're done, you guys want to come over to my house. You'll have to introduce yourself to my dad, and he'll probably want us to be, like, in the living room where he can come by and see what's going on. But, you're more than welcome to come over, and we can sit and talk some more. And, the 3 guys were, yeah, we'll come over, blah, 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 and we had this nice, quick little friendship, getting to know each other. You know how teenagers are. So it was about 4:15. And I told Anita that I'd walked over to Anita and I said, Anita, we need to leave in about 5 minutes, because I have to be home. So the other fella that had been helping me fold the clothes helped me put the clothes into my car, into the trunk. Anita walked over to me and started screaming at me that she couldn't believe that I was trying to take her away from these new friends she had made, that she must think that she wasn't anything but just an N-word. I looked at her. I said, Anita, That has nothing to do with it. I don't think of you that way. I've never thought of you that way. I've never given you any indication that I think of you in that way, and I don't like that word. I don't like it when you use it. I don't like it when anybody uses it. I said, you were with me when my dad said I have to be home at 4:30. It is now 4:20. Takes about 5 to 10 minutes to get home. So you can either go with me, or you can go with these guys, or I'll call your mother so your mother can come get you. But if you're going with me, we need to leave now. So we left. We didn't talk to each other on the way home. The guys didn't come over. They were looking a little shocked. Anita went home. I took the clothes in. My dad saw that I was visibly upset. He asked me what was wrong. I told him what had happened. He sat me down and he said, Jane, you have to remember, they moved here, her and her mother moved here from Chicago. They have experienced things that you have not seen before. And my father grew up in Arkansas. He said to me, she will always see things through a different prism that you will. He said, I don't know what made her say that, why she said that, but just keep in mind, she sees things through a different prism than what you do. So about 45 minutes later, her mother called and asked if my father and I could come over. And we did. And when I sat down, I said to Anita, Anita, I'm sorry if you thought there was something else going on. And Mrs. Lee looked at me and she said, Jane, don't be a hick in that head, just shut up and listen. Anita needs to tell you something. Anita apologized to me and I said, Anita, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you thought that. It hurt my feelings. It shocked me. My dad has explained to me that he grew up in an era also where there was a lot of racism. He saw it. I can honestly tell you, I've never seen that because I have never experienced it. So I don't know what you went through or what you go through on a daily basis with that aspect. I said, when the fellas and the other kids call you a coconut, it angers me, and I always step up. So I hope we can get past this and stay friends, which we did. We had a good long talk, and but from that time on, I saw where people see things through a different prism than what I do. And I'll use this example that Z talked about. That when she went into the yarn shop and, she yells, hello, everybody, I'm a hooker, and the women grab their purse and hold them close, put them between their knees. And I always find that annoying. Because I'm the person that if my purse is sitting in a chair, someone comes in to join us, comes into the shop, which that's happened to me twice. I generally move my purse so they can sit down next to me. And I generally say to them, come sit down and join us. So I would hope that in this day and age that we're past racism, but apparently we're not. So, and I've seen some beautiful work. I've seen some beautiful yarns, creations from other people of color, of whiteness, all the way around. I would hope that you don't use that as a barometer to decide whether you're going to shop from someone. On the Ravelry group, the Ravelry page, they were talking about ways to feature people of color, indigenous people. And I can understand that. And they talked about algorithms. I don't know how you can build racism into an algorithm. Because unless someone's put up their picture, how do you know what they look like? So, I don't know if you can really do that, but then again, we have left-leaning people that always tell you that the right-leaning are always racist and everything else. That has to stop too, because that's not true. When you practice that, where someone who's conservative comes up to you or talks to you, or God forbid they're wearing a Make America Great hat, and you immediately call them a racist, you're the bigot. Just as if the first thing that I think about you when you're wearing a pussy hat, that you're some kind of liberal wingnut, I'm a bigot. I don't think that of people. And I think we need to stop labeling one another and learn more about one another. And like I've always said, choose to be kind. In this day and age, there's no reason for this kind of BS that goes on. Yeah. Let's learn to love one another. That is what God's love is, agape. Full, complete love of your fellow man, woman, child. Color is only skin deep. Under the skin, we're all the same color. When you open us up, we're all the same. So, folks, let's see if we can get a handle on this and stop it. I think one of the things with the yarning community is we are very caring, loving people. And we accept everybody for who they are. Period. So, yeah. I would hope that you would, like I said, just choose to be kind. Look inside of yourself and see if there is some racism. Like I said, I have been reading some of the articles about white fragility. I do understand why people have that. I do understand why the black community, gets very upset when they talk about that kind of thing. Because people are not willing to have an open conversation. But I will tell you this. We just need to stop and learn to love one another. White, black, Native American, Asian, doesn't matter. We need to learn to love one another. So, choose to be kind. Look into it. Look into what the word bigot means. And do you have any bigotry? I know I do. And mostly my bigotry is fancy yarn shops. The few times that I've walked in there, when I tell them I mostly crochet, you get the nose in the air. And I always think, ugh, knitters. That is the one thing that just drives me nuts. When you walk into a yarn shop, people treat you like crap because they think, one, you don't have enough money to buy the yarn. Two, you ain't the right color. Three, you don't knit. So, yeah, it gets kind of interesting. All right, that's it. Enough of the serious talk. Choose to be kind.